What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about what you should be farming for our boy Phainon. He should be releasing in about 2 weeks time. We haven't not gotten the live stream yet. We are going to be watching it live as it happens over at twitch.tv/iSUMMON YT. So make sure you follow me on there. Today, we're going to be talking about Phainon. And if you are one of those people that are planning to summon on Phainon, I have something that may work out extremely well for you. The link in the description is going to take you to Lubargg, the trusted top-up site that allows you to buy currencies for your favorite Hoyo games like Genshin Impact, Honkai, and Zone Zero at a discounted price. Right now, they have a 25% discount on Honkai Star Rail. They also have a 5-star rating on Trustpilot with over 18,000 reviews. The process is also very, very simple. All you need is your UID for your game and your server. Please make sure this information is correct. After that, you're going to select what pack you're going to purchase, and then after you click top up now and follow the payment information, you are going to receive your Jades directly in your game in a matter of a minute or so. All right. What? The process is very simple, fast, and easy. So click the link in the description and get your discount on your seller Jades over at lubargg. Really quickly, I'm going to dive into the trace and ascension materials. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but he uses the Bud of Destruction on Phainon. So if you haven't gotten this farmed up, start farming it now. As far as Stagnant Shadow, he is going to use the Shape of Deep Sheath ascension materials, so make sure you're farming that. All right, and as far as Echo of War, he is going to be using the Glance of Twilight boss, and is going to be the Day Thunder Anamnesis material. He uses 12. I already farmed mine, so I'm good. So if you haven't farmed those materials, go ahead and start doing it now. Now let's talk about his relics and planar sets. If we go over here to my box and look up my Arlon over here, he's the one that has him. Obviously, he is going to be wanting the Captain's Navigator, I guess the Wave Strider Captain, that gives you crit damage and gives you a little bit of attack. Not a little bit of attack, it gives you 40% attack when you get the 2 stacks of help, which is probably the best in slot for any of the hypercarry DPSs. Obviously, the substats that you would want on him is going to be attack, crit rate, and crit damage. Speed is kind of like a dead stat in my opinion. However, you could build a speedy build on Phainon and have him be like 137, have Sunday or Bronya be 1 speed or 2 below that, and that way you can get an extra 2 stacks by having an extra attack on Phainon himself. But that's something to test later on. I don't have access to testing him, so we will test it when the time comes. So, however, I'm going to share with you guys what I have so far. If I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then Planars, we're going to go with that just to go like this. Okay, so this is what I farmed so far. Not the greatest luck. You are looking for attack, crit rate, crit damage. I have not gotten a single piece that has all those 3. So I'm just going to be rolling these and see if they get really, really high crit damage. I'll keep them, but essentially just 1 crit rate, crit damage, and attack. That's pretty much everything you need. Same thing with the gloves. I did get one of these that has crit rate, crit damage. May have gotten more than one actually. No, I don't. Also, if you're farming this, you're also farming for Hyacinth or any of your healers to set, which is also going to be very, very good. So it's not a bad farm to farm this set at all. As far as the chest, you do want a crit damage chest. However, you are going to want to prioritize critting. So if you don't have Sunday and you're not having great luck at crit rate rolls, you may want to run a crit rate chest instead until you have better substats and can afford to swap over to a crit damage piece. The way it's looking for me, I am going to be overcapping on crit if I use Sunday, so I'm going to be able to use a crit damage chest in my opinion. Now the boots, like I said before, it's more than likely for everybody's going to be attack boots with crit rate, crit damage. However, if you are going to want to experiment with the speedy build that I talked about, you could do that as well. But remember that the transformation for Phainon has nothing to do with his built up speed. And what I mean by that is any speed that is not his base speed has no impact whatsoever in this transformation. So the speed is essentially a dead stat whenever he is transformed. The speed will help him transform faster by either having him go first, having Sunday bring him up, then having Bronya bring him up. You get 3 turns on Phainon that way, and you should be able to transform pretty much immediately after that. But you can get something similar to the same effect if you just run a 161 speed Sunday, 160 speed Bronya, and then bring him up twice. You should be able to get quite a decent amount of stacks and also ult around the same time without having to invest too much in speed, and then you can hyper invest in attack, which is the direction that I'm going to aim to do myself. Now, if you move over to the planar sets, currently we don't have access to what I believe to be his best in slot planar set, which is going to be a planar set that releases sometime in 3.4. I'm pretty sure it releases when he drops. So make sure you save a bunch or a few of the crafting materials, the blue ones and the gold ones, so you're able to craft the main stat pieces immediately as he drops, if you're going to be one of those people. If you are going to pre-farm for his planar set because you're not going to have any of those materials, then the Rudolent Arena is going to be the best in slot for him. It gives him crit rate, and it also gives him scale damage increase by 20%, which is pretty much all his damage when he is transformed, and it's pretty much the only thing you're going to be able to do. Obviously, main stat for the orb is going to be physical damage, crit rate, crit damage, and attack if you can get it. This one is extremely bad. I will be trying to farm one. I'll be trying to farm a little bit, but I'm probably going to just focus on this because when the planar set comes out, I'm going to dump a lot of stamina into farming the new planar set for my Phainon. So I'm just going to use this because it's all I have right now. I literally have no other physical damage orb. I have this attack that I could use as well, but I want a physical damage one. So, I mean, it's what I have, okay? I'll try both and see which one will perform better. But as of right now, I'm going to use this one or this one of those two after I try this one. But like I said, in the future, when the new planar set comes out, you are going to be wanting to farm the new planar set in physical damage with crit rate, crit damage, and attack, and that'll be it. The rope obviously is going to be attack. He does not use any energy whatsoever, so anything other than attack is just wasted. For my build specifically, this is the only attack or rope that I have for Rudolent Arena, so it is what it is. This is what I'm going to use when he drops until I can farm the newer one. Now, the last thing is going to be the light cones, what light cones you need to get ready for him. So if you go over here and take a look at these light cones, the first one I'm going to talk about is the free-to-play Her to Shop light cone. If you have it S5, which everybody I think should invest in this light cone because it's pretty good for a free-to-play option. You do get 4 stacks of 60% attack, which is a total of 64% attack every time you attack, and he attacks 8 times after he transforms, so you're going to be able to stack this up pretty easily. And also after breaking someone, which he does a lot of break damage as well, you will be getting a 24% damage bonus for 2 turns, which if you break an enemy 1 time, you are going to just get the damage bonus for the duration of the ultimate. It is what it is. That's just the mechanic that he has, right? Aside from that, the Clara light cone is actually a very good one. One of his better ones, even though it's not a really fantastic option, if I'm being honest. But you do get a decent chunk of attack, get a little bit of extra healing when he gets hit, because remember, he actually has a skill that makes every enemy hit him. So this will trigger quite a while, so you have less of a chance of dying in your transform state if you run this light cone, and you also get 24% damage increase. Obviously, if you have super impositions on this light cone, it'll perform a lot better in the damage bonus section. It could get up to 40% damage bonus if you have it maxed out, which is pretty good. Now, the next light cone I'm going to talk about is his personal light cone, right? We're going to talk about his signature. His signature light cone is obviously his best in slot light cone. It does give him a base speed of 12%, and he allows him to ignore 18% defense with a 60% damage increase, which is insane. It's the highest damage bonus that he can get in any light cone form, and he also gets damage or defense ignore while he's in there, plus his transform state becomes a little faster, which is very good. There's no real replacement for this, chat. Like, it is what it is. There's nothing come close to this. So if you are a Phainon main, you are going to want to pick up a copy of his own light cone. It's extremely good for him. Now, I want to talk about a new battle pass light cone we're going to get. It's called the Trail Bygone of Blood. If you have it at S5, it'll be 20% crit rate, and skill and ultimate damage dealt by the wearer increased by 40%. This is not only going to be good for Phainon, it's also going to be very good for Saber. The problem is it's going to start at 12% crit rate and 24% damage dealt, which isn't that great. So by the time you max it out, it's still 40%, which isn't even close to the 60%, and then you're still missing the defense ignore. So even though it's probably his best 4-star option, it's not amazing, it's not great, it's not the it's not even close to being like one of the better ones. So, but as far as his 4-star or non-signature light cone options, I think this one would be the best if you can manage to get it to S5. But I mean, at this point, I don't think a lot of people are going to be having this at S5 anytime soon. It's going to take a few months to get this. The last one I want to talk about is Under the Blue Sky, is this light cone right here. I don't have one maxed out, but at max super imposition Under the Blue Sky, you get 32% attack, and when you defeat an enemy, you get a crit rate increase about 24% for 3 turns. This should be pretty easy to obtain with Phainon. He is going to just destroy the board, so you should be getting the perfect crit rate ratio with this light cone pretty easily. That way you can mitigate going for the crit rate chest instead going for the crit damage chest, this will help you quite significantly to achieve that goal. However, as far as damage amplification goes, it's not going to be one of the better ones. I will put out an actual calculation video on all these Lycones and all these relics and stuff as you get closer to being released. But as of right now, I'm just going to say that if you are not going for your signature Lycone and you're not getting the Battle Pass Lycone, I would either pick Fall of an Eon because it has a higher base attack, or I will pick Under the Blue Sky because it's actually very, very good. And if you have a superimposed copy of the Clara Lycone, it's also a very, very good one for him as well. So you have those three options aside from signature Lycone. If you are going to pick up the Battle Pass and you're going to focus on the Trail of Bygone Blood, then also it's a good option. But obviously his signature Lycone is going to be the #1. So that is going to be today's video. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys pulling for Phainon? Make sure to check out Lubargg in the description below. Let me know what you guys think. Until next time, guys. See ya.